Hello there and welcome back. This is another 5th and 6th grade decimals video. In this video, our focus is going to be on how to add and subtract with decimals. Okay, here's our first example. So the key to adding and subtracting with decimals is to make sure that you line up the two numbers right on top of each other by their decimal place values. So in this example, we'll start with the first number, which is 0.7. So I'm going to go ahead and write that here. 0.7. Then what I recommend you do is place the decimal for the second number right under there. Go ahead and make your line and then place the decimal for the answer just below that. That way you can make sure your decimals are lined up, just like buttons on a snowman. Now we know we're subtracting, so we'll put that there. And the second number is 0.5. That means there's a 0 here and a 5 here. If everything is lined up, you're good to go as far as subtracting. 7 minus 5 is 2. So we'll put that there. And 0 minus 0 is 0. So our answer here would be 0.2. Okay, here is the next one. We're going to take 8.8 and add 8. So let's start again with that first number, 8.8. And I'm going to go ahead and place all the rest of my decimals. Decimal for the second number here, line, plus sign since we're adding, and decimal for the answer here. So all the decimals are lined up. Now you may have noticed that the second number, 8, doesn't have a decimal. It actually does. It's just that it's usually invisible when we write it as a whole number. So if we have nothing coming after the decimal, a lot of times we don't include the decimal, but it is there. That's where it always is. So it would be right there if we made it reappear. So now I'm going to go ahead and fill it in and put an 8 on this side of the decimal. Now, if you want to, you can fill in that empty space with a 0 if that makes you feel better. So 8 plus 0 is 8. And then on this side, 8 plus 8 is 16. So our final answer here would be 16.8. Okay, here's our next example. We're going to take 0.95 and add 0.17. So let's start with that first number, 0.95. Then I'm going to place the decimals for the rest. So decimal for the second number, line, decimal for the answer. And since we're adding, I'll go ahead and put a plus there. Now I'm going to fill in the second number around the decimal I already placed. It has a 0 in front of or to the left of the decimal, and it has a 1 and a 7 after it. Okay, now I can go ahead and add, just not even paying attention to the decimals because they're already where they need to be. 5 plus 7 is 12, so I'd put a 2 here and regroup that 1. 1 plus 9 is 10, plus another 1 is 11, so make that 11. And then 1 plus 0 and 0 is 1. So our final answer here would be 1.12. Okay, here's our next example. We're going to take 0.27 plus 0.61. So let's start with that first number, 0.27. Then let's place the decimals for the second number right here, a line, and then a decimal for the answer. Since we're adding, I'll go ahead and put the plus here. So now I can fill in the second number around the decimal that we've already placed. It has a 0 in front of the decimal and a 6 and a 1 after it. Okay, now ignoring the decimals, I can go ahead and add. 7 plus 1 is 8. 2 plus 6 is also 8. And then 0 plus 0 is 0. So final answer to this would be 0.88. Okay, here is our next one and our last one for today's video. We're going to take 5 and we're going to subtract from it 0.742. Okay, so let's start with the number 5. I'm going to write that here. Again, we've got an example of a whole number, but we're dealing with decimals. So I'm going to make that invisible decimal reappear right after the ones place, where the decimal always is. It's just a lot of times we don't write it. Now I'm going to put a decimal underneath, a line, and a decimal for the answer. Since we're subtracting, I'll put that symbol here. And now I'll fill in the second number. Second number has a 0 in front of the decimal, and then a 7, 4, and 2 after it. Now, especially for subtracting, I do recommend you fill in the zeros. If you're adding, not so much, but when you're subtracting, it is helpful because we may have to do some regrouping here. I can't take 2 away from 0, so I got to jump to the next place value, which still has 0, and then the next place value still has 0. So I have to go all the way over here to take one of those away and make it 4. That would make this 10, but I need to help the other place value. So that's going to become 9. Well, that becomes 10. Then this is going to become 9. So I can make this 10. 10 minus 2 is 8, so I'll put that there. 9 minus 4 is 5. 9 minus 7 is 2. And 4 minus nothing is 4. So here is the final answer for this, 4.258. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope to see you in another video soon.